Hi everyone, my name is Kate Hanasowski. I'm really excited to be here at South Brunswick High School. I've spent the last 9.5 years at Linden High School, and I'm really looking forward to working with you all here at South Brunswick.
Hi everyone. I wish I could be at your department meeting, but it was hard to choose where to go, and I wanted to make sure that you all at least heard from me this week. Now, as you may know, we are going to have a school-wide author visit on April 22nd at 1 o'clock. That's a Thursday afternoon. And the idea of having it at that time is that it would give you a break from having to prepare or teach that particular afternoon. And your students will get the benefit of coming to the webinar where we will host the author visit. So I'm going to send out over the next few weeks a couple of different things that you'll need. First of all, I'm going to send you this invitation. And this invitation just gives a little bit of background about our author. You'll notice that there's actually 3 authors that are going to be visiting us. The woman in the middle is Elizabeth Eckford. She is one of the original 9 students that integrated Little Rock High School or Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957. So she is joined by Dr. Stanley and her daughter Grace, the co-authors of this book. And the book is called The Worst First Day, Bullied While Desegregating Central High School. And it's a really interesting book because it's written for teen and young adult audiences. It's a very easy read. It's a great choice for our school curriculum because, as all of you know, regardless of which subject you teach, social justice is huge this year, as is the idea that we are appealing to our 9th grade curriculum, our 10th grade curriculum, our 11th grade curriculum, and even up into 12th grade. I think this hits a lot of different spots and it's of interest to a lot of different people. So again, this is your invitation and you will get one of these to post to Google Classroom. It has the date and the time to share with your students. It also has the link to join and your students will be joining a webinar. So our webinar will host up to 3,000 people. So you will join our webinar for that. And as I said, attendance for the day will be taken off of that webinar attendance. So that means for you teachers that the afternoon is not something that you need to plan to make contact with your kids. We're going to take care of that for you on the 22nd at 1 o'clock. Okay. This gives you a little bit of a background on the presentation itself. And what would really help is if you could introduce this and kind of talk it up to your students. And I'd like the teachers across the building to do this for me. What I mean by that is there's a lot to know about the speaker before she gets here so that our students really understand who it is that is coming to join them. So I'm going to talk specifically this week to English and Social Studies about this, but I don't want that to be the end of the discussion. Math, science, business, industrial arts, wherever you fall in the spectrum, talk up this experience. You're going to get to hear from a civil rights pioneer, someone who has been through really amazing and challenging times that are right in our curriculum. So I think that her voice is really going to be interesting. So what could you do to get your kids ready for this visit? There's 2 different interviews here. One is an interview that was given to a magazine by the 3 authors. Another is an NPR report. So if you wanted to have your students listen to this to reflect on it, that would be a great way to approach this. I've given you a bunch of ProQuest articles that came out around the time that the school was integrated. So if you are interested in primary sources, or if you just want to look back at what the reaction of the mainstream media, in this case the New York Times, was to what was happening in Little Rock, this might be an interesting way to approach that. You could also try to find additional articles, or you could call down to the library or email me or Kate, our new librarian, and we can find an article that will fit your particular perspective. We gave you a study guide. Now, this is a huge study guide, but page 173 of the guide, which we put here as a PDF, just has the interview from Elizabeth Eckford's account. So if you just want to give a little taste about what her experience was like, this might be a way to do that. There's a biography article about the lasting impact of the Little Rock Nine. There are more primary sources available from the Eisenhower Library, all kinds of different telegrams and diary entries, phone calls that went back and forth between President Eisenhower and the state officials in Arkansas, which make for interesting kind of asides to what was happening at the high school. We have photographs and video. So a great way to prepare your students would be to have them watch one of these. This one is made by the Red Cross. It's very short, but it actually does a nice job of kind of summing up what happened that day. 3 minutes and 55 seconds. It could make a great opening or closing activity to just kind of bring in what's happening with our school and how it connects into our world. Same is true here. This one is longer. This is the complete BBC interview that was done a few years ago with Elizabeth Eckford about her experiences that day. So if you're in for a longer presentation, this could be a good possibility. We also have a short one that was created only 3 minutes and 41 seconds, which again just gives you an idea of what the reaction to her integration was that morning. If you want to look at social justice in your classroom, which could be a great connection to our speaker, I gave you an Edutopia article about creating classrooms for social justice and just some strategies about how to broaden and bring in real world events in your classroom. Now, the author has been kind enough to have a way for our kids to bring in questions. We don't want to do a Q&A with 3,000 kids. It's too difficult. It's too hard to police. It's too hard to manage. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask that you have the kids, you make this form available on Classroom, and you have the kids put in their question, their name, and their grade, and then they will get a shout out on the AuthorVisit if their their question is selected as one of the ones that she chooses to answer. She specifically asked for this because she says it's a nice way to bring student voices into the presentation. So another great thing that you can put on Classroom that's going to allow you to kind of connect this into what you're doing. And let's face it, we're all done. So if this is a little bit of a bright spot and a little bit of something different for kids that just brings in a new breath of fresh air, it's a great thing. So if any way that you can kind of tie this into what you're doing in your subject would be much appreciated, both by me and I think by the kids. Let's give them a little bit of a school-wide event, even though we have had a difficult year. So if you want any more information, you can always reach out to me. You can reach out to Kate, who we're also introducing today, and that should give you a good idea of what the possibilities are. So thank you, as always.